Do you care about the environment?
Yes, it's like the world we live in, and it's super important.
Do you care about the environment?
Yeah, I do.
Why?
Because it's important. Nature and stuff. Nature's important.
Do you care about the environment?
I mean, in a big picture kind of way, yeah, sure.
Why?
Yeah, sure.
I live in it.
Americans make more garbage than anybody else in the world, and the reason for that is we're not very good at this reduce, reuse, recycle. Reduction is the most important thing that we can do. We simply buy too much. We're wealthy, we like to buy things, and we like to buy things that are convenient. So that's where the reuse comes in. Instead of buying things that we use once and throw away, we need to be buying things that we can use over and over and over again. Shopping bags and thermos cups and all kinds of things.
So it's obvious that reducing what we make and buy and reusing what we already have is the only step we have left. I don't know about you, but in elementary school, I was taught that recycling would save the world, and that putting a plastic bottle in a blue bin instead of the trash would make everything better. As an adult, I'm learning that that isn't true, and that the order of reduce, reuse, recycle matters. I started this project with the goal of finding ways that regular people like me can reduce environmental impact on a personal scale. It is so important now that we take action on the individual level to make a real difference. If we continue on this path of destruction, there won't be much natural beauty left in 50 to 100 years, when maybe we're dead, but our legacy is living on. I probably can't save the world myself, but if I show people some of the tools and the reasons why we should change, maybe we can save it together. I started figuring out how to lessen waste by going waste-free for 30 days in September of 2017. I did some research prior, just trying to figure out how I would eat, how I'd wash my hair, how I'd brush my teeth. But I didn't prepare as much as I should have, which showed me the value of having a kind of how-to tool like what I'm trying to put together here. I figured out quickly how important it is to have a community around you living waste-free, because of how ingrained waste is in our society. When you go it alone in this, you truly feel alone, and I want to change that. But before we get into the how of all this, let's talk about the why. Hi, my name is Josie, and I'm one of those tree-hugging, sandal-wearing weirdos that you may picture when you think of an environmental advocate. Right now, I'm finishing my senior year at the University of South Carolina with a degree in public health. I've always loved nature, whether it's mountains, oceans, forests, rivers, it doesn't matter. I'd just rather be there.
Your only worry is it's cold, 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 but don't go down that road, because your broken little heart will be on a precious mind.
But in an environmental health class I took in the spring of 2017, I realized I wasn't acting like I loved any of it. I didn't make recycling a priority, I didn't try to minimize my single-use plastics, and the environment just wasn't routinely on my mind. But when I decided to make this little movie my senior thesis project, that changed pretty quickly.
So today is day 1 of the Waste Reduction Challenge. I'm going to be tracking everything I throw out today. I'm going to be writing it all down in my phone. Once I realized how difficult it is to actually become waste-free,
I decided that the best course of action for my thesis would be to create kind of a guide to reducing your waste. So that's what you're going to be seeing me do throughout this tiny doc. I made this 7-day guide to reducing your waste, and it's not meant to completely bring you up to being waste-free. I think it's really unrealistic to think that you can make that big of a change in just a week. Our society is so ingrained with waste. Most of our products are disposable, or they're meant to have a short lifespan, and most things that we get that are sustainable or said to be compostable or whatever, they still come with plastic packaging or disposable packaging of some kind, and it's really difficult to escape it. And I think it's kind of our job as consumers to tell those big corporations, government, whoever, that we're ready for a change. We want our cities and our countries to be sustainable. We want sustainable products.
So yeah, I'm going to be writing everything down on my phone, and then today I'm going to be categorizing it to see where my waste is coming from, just to see, is it more food waste, is it more packaging waste, stuff like that, things I don't really need to be using. So yeah, I'm excited to see where it is and what my trash is made up of, and seeing, how close I am, I guess, to being completely waste-free.
I mean, it's this communal resource that we all have, and we've been marginalizing it over and over and over again, using more than our share, especially the U.S. as a whole. As of right now, we make up a small percentage of the world's population. We use up about we destroy about a quarter of the world's environment every year, and we produce, incredible amount of food waste. So it's just this commodity that we all have to come together and we have to share and we have to take care of, otherwise we're going to lose it.
That's Tyler Davis, a senior at Carolina who, along with 5 other students in an environmental policy class, completed a semester-long project that examined ways we could reduce food waste on campus. Food is probably the biggest issue next to plastic when it comes to environmental problems that stem from waste, which honestly engulfs most of them. I forgot to do the second part of day 1, which was to go through and categorize all of my stuff. So I'm doing that this morning. This is the list of all the stuff I threw out. So I threw out half an avocado peel, a tempeh package, seal on a bag of carrots, the rest of my salad from lunch, ice cream container, a sushi container, wipes at the gym, a veggie burger wrapper, and plastic wrap on cauliflower. The plastic wrapping on some tempeh, which is packaging waste, the seal on a bag of carrots, which is also packaging waste, but I also said that one was replaceable with like a reusable alternative, because instead of buying pre-shredded super convenient carrots, I could have bought like a carrot without any plastic wrapping on it and brought my own reusable bag, and then shredded it myself. And then I threw out the rest, like the leftovers of my salad, because it was just some tomatoes and some of those carrots, and I was like, I'm a texture person, and I was like, I can't do that by itself. So should have just eaten it, but for the sake of honesty and what I would normally do, I would throw it out. So sorry. Those sanitary wipes at the gym, those I just I didn't really know how to categorize them, because I don't consider them unnecessary, because I was a public health major and I'm going to grad school for public health. Germs are a thing that I worry about, and I don't want to stop wiping down equipment at the gym, and I don't really want to stop going to the gym because I like the gym a lot. So I don't know, I'll have to look into and see if there's a way that I can make my own sanitizing wipes, just with face rags, those little rag thingies. Yeah, and just see if I can make those myself and bring those. I don't know if gyms would be cool with that, because
you know, but, or at the very least, just use one of those rags at the gym and don't use more than one. I don't know how well that would work if you're at the gym for like an hour or an hour and a half like I usually am. So
hold me there like mama would, standing down the road with your eyes full of goodness, baby. Hold me down there like a saint in the street. Oh, I'll go halfway, don't you leave me. La dum dum, la dum dum, la dum dum, oh, la dum dum dum. So I bought the ticket and took the train.
Right now, we're currently wasting a 1/3 of the entire production of food that we produce. It's just going to waste, and that's through. I mean, there's food loss and food waste. There's a difference in the production of the food, but most of it's on our end as consumers that the food just goes to waste.
The United States Department of Agriculture estimates that Americans waste 30 to 40% of our food supply every year on the retail and consumer level. This means that hunger in this country could be solved if we just figured out how to reallocate uneaten food, how to keep it from going bad, or stopped throwing away perfectly good items because they aren't as aesthetically pleasing. So how can we change this? Really, it breaks down into a question of reducing, redistributing, or recycling food through composting.
So some of the other ways that we looked at limiting food waste was potentially composting. Unfortunately at USC that's not going to be something that's like super realistic because composting takes like a lot of effort, and in such an urban environment like Columbia, and especially on a college campus, it's hard to get all of that food waste together and then find a place to do the composting and stuff like that. Whereas in other places, maybe out in more rural or suburban areas, it's a lot easier to do composting because you've got more space for it.
We basically just began networking and figuring out what's going on campus already. Are people aware of the problem? Are there any efforts being made to reduce food waste? And then based on what was going on and who we met with, we decided, are we going to try and get them to reduce, reuse, or recycle? Like, that sounds so cliche, but that's basically what it was. So reducing the amount of food that's produced, are we going to redistribute it, being reused, are we going to recycle it, which would be composting. And then kind of just based on the hierarchy of which one is more energy efficient, first of all, it would be reducing, but Aramark already does that as much as they can, but we live on a college campus, and so it's like if I have 5 minutes to get from one class to the other, I can't wait 10 minutes for them to cook hamburgers, so it has to be made already. So they're already trying to reduce food as much as they can, but just the nature of a college campus, they can't reduce it anymore. So there's automatically going to be a guarantee that there's going to be excessive food. So we figured instead of composting it, we would try and redistribute the food because that's more energy efficient.
Yesterday, I didn't have to throw anything out because it went bad, but just thinking about what I've had to throw out in the past, one thing that always goes bad on me is spinach, and it's mainly because I don't really like spinach. I only use it in smoothies, so, but I've had issues before where like it's 2 for 1 for a bag of spinach, and I'm like, oh my gosh, such a great deal. So I'll buy spinach, and then one of the bags goes bad.
Reducing what you purchase is the most effective way to reduce your food waste. Many people, myself definitely included, buy way too much food, which leads to letting it go bad because you just can't finish it. You know, things come up, wanting to go out to dinner with friends, not feeling like cooking, your dog gets sick, who knows what happens, but there's a lot of reasons that you aren't gonna finish your groceries. So if you buy less of it in the first place, not as much of it's gonna go bad, and hopefully none of it goes bad if you plan well enough.
And then might have to give up the ice cream because I don't really have a way to compost containers right now. So might just have to say no to that until I can figure out a way to compost. I just have to give up the sushi. You can make your own sushi, but like to buy the nori sheets, they only come in plastic bags. But today we're going to be talking about food recycling, which basically is just composting. I guess the act of food recycling is just putting nutrients back into something where they can break down back to their original nutrient state, basically. So they can go back into the earth and potentially grow more food, which is really cool. So my big disclaimer about composting is that, like, same with plastic recycling or recycling of any kind, it's not the whole answer. It is a big, answer to, like, the problem as a whole. But when you think about, like, how food gets from farm to table, water was used, possibly fertilizers or pesticides if you are not using organic food, and then using gasoline to fuel the plows and the trucks that get it out of the ground and then to the grocery store, and then the fuel in your car to get it from the grocery store to your house, electricity to keep it cold at the grocery store. So all these things go into keep growing your food and keeping it fresh long enough for you to be able to eat it. So say, going back to the grocery store day, you either bought too much or you bought just enough but decided to eat out a bunch or several nights that week. So a lot of it went bad. You you let a lot of that food go bad, maybe with a thought in mind, oh, well, I can just compost it and then that'll be fine. That'll be like I ate it. But really, that's not the answer, because when you think about it, like, yeah, you bought all that food, you created demand for all that food in your grocery store or whatever, but you still went and bought other food. It's not like you didn't eat those nights. Then you have double the food being demanded when only half of it was ever needed for consumption. And, it's okay if that happens once in a while, but it definitely shouldn't be a crutch to lean on. Yeah, but that's the thing with composting. But today we are going to be looking at how we can compost more in our own lives. So right now I'm at my parents' house. They have plenty of space for composting if they wanted to. So yeah, that's all great if you live in a house. But I have been in college for the past 4 years. I've been in dorms and then in apartments for the 3 other years of college. So really no way to compost in an apartment. I tried it this past year, but it ended up just attracting bugs, and it was not a good situation. So what I started doing instead is I found out that you could bring your compost to the Green Quad garden. But now that I'm home for, I'll really only be here for another month, then I'm moving up to Michigan. But I don't really know what to do with my compost here, and I haven't been collecting it because nothing to do with it, and there's really no room in the freezer for it. So today I'm going to be looking online at places near where I am in Brentwood, Tennessee, which is south of Nashville, to figure out where I can bring my compost. Yeah.
Keep your door locked from your favorite sin. Always come a knocking, wondering where you've been. There he stands in the doorway with a tall glass of gin. No, I'm not mistaken, no, 'cause the devil wants to dance again.
So today we are going to be specifically talking about reducing our plastic waste. So basically, if you don't know, plastics are really terrible for the environment. out in the wild, plastics take, you know, up to 500 years to decompose completely. And in the meantime, before they are, you know, completely decomposed, they aren't, you know, just hanging out in like the form of a plastic bottle or a styrofoam takeout container. They are breaking down into like little particles called microplastics, which are teeny tiny, less than, I believe, 5 millimeters in diameter particles that can get into the marine animals, sometimes into us, which I will say has not been definitively proven yet, but my mind is saying, okay, well, we've seen that they are in marine life. If we eat that marine life, then yeah, it's probably getting into us as well.
So even if our plastic wastes go where they are supposed to go, which is the landfill or recycling center, in landfills we can still run into huge issues with leachates getting out into the natural environment. And I will say our landfills today are so meticulously maintained that that really doesn't happen that often. But the bigger issue at hand is that we're just running out of space to put our plastic trash.
The challenge for today, I guess, is to look at your list from day one where you wrote down everything you threw out that day, and you're going to take that list, signify or figure out which things were plastic, count them all up. For me, I had 5 things that I threw out that were plastic. So I had a tempeh package, the seal on a bag of carrots, a sushi container, a veggie burger wrapper, and then the plastic wrap on cauliflower that I threw out. So today my challenge is to cut it in half, which would be 2.5, but I would say if you have an odd number that you threw out, just lower it down to, you know, 1 below. So instead of 2.5, I'm going to just try to throw out 2 things. So it's already around 11 a.m. here, and I did take my dog hiking, and she pooped, and I had to clean it up. So I have one of my items already that I had to use. Hey guys, so it is day 5, which means it is plastic reduction day 2. So today we are going to be focusing on reducing our plastic usage even more by reducing our use of even recyclable plastics. So recycling plastic is kind of similar to recycling or composting food, which means that, you know, even though we are recycling the product, we're still using all the resources to get that item from, you know, oil form to factory to store to house and then recycled again. It just uses a ton of unnecessary energy.
Recycling is only our 3rd best choice. That's because it still takes energy to run trucks and pick stuff up and remanufacture those products. But it is still a huge answer to the garbage problem because there are a lot of things that we can't reduce or reuse any more than we already are. And there's a lot of material that can be turned back into new products rather than sent to the landfill.
We are also at the point now where we need to start buying reusables, which is what day 5 is all about. So today's challenge is to invest in a reusable alternative to a single-use plastic. So something like a thermos, a reusable water bottle, maybe some reusable Tupperware style stuff, so glass preferably, anything like that. So so today I'm up at my grandparents' cabin in Michigan, and I only brought one of my reusable bottles with me, and it's a 40-ounce metal container, which is a super nice container, but yeah, not necessary for what I was drinking this morning, which was iced tea. So today I'm using my grandpa's Tervis tumbler, which has a super cool fish on it. I think it's a bass. I don't know anything about fish. So I don't know if that's what it is, but that's what I think it is. Yeah, so that's what we're doing today. That's the challenge. So go out and buy your reusable.
So the type of reusable container you purchase also matters. While any kind of reusable, whether it's metal, glass, or plastic, is awesome because it eliminates the need for a plastic single-use one, in the long run, those metal and glass containers are far superior to the plastic ones just because they last longer. Plus, when they do go bad, if they go bad, they won't be harmful to the environment like plastic ones will be.
So today we are talking about minimalism, which was a movement started by Ryan Nicodemus and Joshua Fields Milburn, who are two best friends who basically learned that, you know, you can be super rich and have all the best things, but still not be super happy. Basically, the whole idea behind minimalism is just learning about how to live with less. And it's not about saving money, it's not about saving space even in your apartment. It's just learning about letting go of material things and learning to just be happy without all the stuff that we have.
Minimalism was not started from an environmental perspective, but it definitely has environmental implications. Think about the enormous quantities of just junk we have as a society that we don't even use, much of which is plastic-based. We put scarce resources towards producing these things that we could be using for important products, or just leaving be so we can enjoy the natural beauty of the landscapes they make up.
So the task for today is to write down everything in your home, apartment, room, whatever, everything you own that you have not used or touched basically in the past 60 days. So the past 2 months, what have you used, what you haven't, and basically I think, you know, if you haven't used in 2 months, probably you don't need it. So that's, I guess, what we're going to be looking at. And, you know, things like toilet plunger, obviously don't write that down because that's something you might not need every 2 months, but when you need it, you need it. So, yeah.
You don't need to give away everything you own and become a possessionless person to be successful in this. But I think it's important to really evaluate the utility of the items you bring into your life. I try to think of everything in terms of an investment. So in 6 months, a year, and 5 years, where will this item be in terms of my life? Will it have served its purpose efficiently? Will I have used it? Will it be, you know, in the garbage somewhere because it broke, because it was a piece of crap to begin with? You know, we really have to put thought into what we are buying, whether it's food at the grocery store, a reusable water bottle, or a card game you bought on Black Friday 3 years ago that still hasn't been opened. I get it. Being committed to reducing your waste is a lot. It might feel like it's not worth the hassle or the added stress of wanting to have perfect habits, but very few people can change overnight into a green machine who gets everything right all the time. But that's part of the point. Our society is built around waste, and feeling like making trash is unavoidable. The more people who actively avoid wasteful products, the more society will change to fit our demands for sustainable products in cities. So remember that it's all right to make mistakes, as long as you get back on track and stick with it in the long run. Your final challenge of this 7-day boot camp is to get outside, watch a documentary on waste, or just do some research and find your personal reasons to reduce your impact. Your journey will be way easier if you know why you're doing it. And another bonus challenge for today, and really forever, is to encourage your friends and family to reduce their personal waste and to become more aware of their daily impacts on the earth. Like I've said before, it is so hard to do this by yourself. So find someone who has the same passion about the environment and wants to improve it with you. You can also join the Wasteful Movie Facebook page, where you can join with other like-minded people and get ideas for reducing your waste even further.
Doesn't matter
When did we start living without a thought about what we bring into our world? It terrifies me to think that this place is too far gone to save, and that natural places I've fallen in love with won't be there forever. I hate feeling helpless when I see videos of plastics floating in reefs, or perfectly good food being tossed for no reason. If you care about this, you have to care about this. So if you have been, stop turning a blind eye, realize that our resources are numbered, and take responsibility for the life you live. No one individual can save the world, but together, I think we can.
My hand, don't let go, 'cause I want you to come home with me, nice and slow. No, my heart it is full while we dance so slow. After all I said, I was wrong. The look on your face says it all. You'll be leaving soon towards the edge of the sun. So I said, take me where you wanna go, maybe somewhere far from here. Baby, hold me a little closer now, maybe closer to the flame. I said, lead me where you wanna be, and we'll set out and be free. So pack your clothes, don't leave your coat, you're gonna need it where we go. And I said, oh, I said, oh. Turns out after all I said, I wasn't wrong. Hold me to the flame, just hold. But I wouldn't do the same. I'm dying in the cold just for you. Maybe the winter here feels so cold because we have no room to grow. All we have is a house made of stone, and the sidewalks they're all froze. Even with your best pair of boots and soles, that coat will reach your toes. That's why I said to pack your clothes, don't leave your coat, you're gonna need it where we go. I said, oh.